In today's video, we take a box of cheap diecast cars from the local flea market and turn them into a fleet of racetrack death machines for Gaslands, the game of post-apocalyptic vehicular combat. Well, hi folks, this is Lee from skirmishwargames.com and welcome to the Gaslands Flea Market Challenge. Gaslands is a tabletop game of post-apocalyptic vehicular combat published by Osprey Publishing. The game is meant to be played with widely available Matchbox and Hot Wheels scale cars. Cars can be used brand new right out of the box or radically customized, which frankly is a big part of the fun. For our Gaslands Flea Market Challenge, we're going to take a $1.99 box of secondhand cars we got at the indoor flea market. We're going to dump them out. We don't know exactly what's in there yet. And we're going to see what kind of builds we can make just using materials and pieces that we have here right in the house. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's see what we got. Just looking through the plastic, have you kind of eyeballed anything you think you might want to work on?
Possibly. We shall see.
Possibly, okay.
Okay, let's see what we got.
Okay, ready for the big reveal?
Yep.
Oh, there's a big bird in here, I can see already.
On the popcorn truck.
All right, so what did we end up getting?
Oh, look, it's a VW bug.
So, that's a potential to really mess with somebody's childhood memories. So what do we get? 3, 6, 8. 8 cars for $1.99. That's not too bad. There's what we got to work with. What are you gonna choose, do you think?
I'll pick my first one, then you pick one, and then I'll pick another one.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna take the VW bug.
Okay, you can take the bug. All right, I'm gonna go with this. It says made for MD, made for McDonald's. So I wonder if these came out of McDonald's Happy Meals or something like that. All right, so that's mine.
Now I'm gonna go with this guy. He's nice and plain.
Okay.
And what's your second one gonna be?
Well, as tempting as it is, let me see your VW. As tempting as it is to take Big Bird, I will do something with this at some point. It's just too absurd not to, but it's so out of scale. We'll stick with the basics. So we're gonna go with the dune buggy. Plain old dune buggy. All right, so that's what we got. Next step is we're going to take a few minutes and sort of plan our attack and what we're going to do, and then we'll get to it. Ready?
I'm ready.
So what are you going to do with your nondescript 4-door sedan there? Is it 4 doors? It is. Hey, your 4-door hatchback.
We're gonna give him some armor plating because it's kind of dangerous out there. We're also gonna give him some guns made out of the barrel, toothpicks, and some aluminum piping.
Okay, so this actually was one of the pieces that we cannibalized off of the Skylanders vehicles we got at Toys R Us for nearly nothing because they were on clearance. And what are you going to use for your armor?
Probably plastic canvas and maybe some takeout trays.
Okay.
So for the little VW bug, we're going to do a mounted gunner using parts from Skylanders vehicles that we scavenged. We've got one of the wheels is going to be the rotating base so we can go 360. Little seat and some exhaust to go on the back. Got a little tiny guy that we got on eBay with a whole bunch of them for like $2.95. We've got the gun that we snipped off of a little Hot Wheels X-Wing. Some plastic canvas to help with the stability of the base. And to give him a little bit of protection, we're going to build him a little box to go around him made out of a DQ gift card that we finished off and snipped up into pieces.
Okay, for the black car here, again, I'm going to just kind of wing it. So this is kind of a loose plan. We'll see how it goes once we get in the middle of it. These little plates here are, I think, watch components, and we're going to use those for maybe some rear hubcaps. Might be able to put a gun right in the middle here. We're going to steal another part from this Hot Wheels X-Wing we've been cannibalizing. This hatch came from when we were messing around with a Dust Tactics Bulldog and turning it into a Star Wars Stormtrooper tank. So this is left over, so that might look good there. And then for armor plating, these little office supply stickers, we got them for 62 cents a piece. So we might stick those in some strategic areas and see if that works for armor plating. And then for the dune buggy here, I mean, he doesn't need a whole lot of modification, but we're going to mess with him anyway. These are some Skylander parts that we took off of those Skylanders vehicles we got at closeout at Toys R Us when they were closing down. This is a little housing unit that Came off of an AT-43 Flyer we got on clearance, so I might use that for something. And then here is a extra machine gun and ammo box that came from that Dust Tactics Bulldog that we converted into the Star Wars tank. This was an extra car that came from that little box that we got from the indoor flea market. And I'm not sure what all is inside there, but I might pull it apart, see if there's any little bits that could be used on this dune buggy. So that's the plan. I reserve the right to alter it as we go, and we'll see how it all ends up. Okay, so we started by drilling out all the metal posts with a variable speed drill and then disassembling them so we could get to the interior parts. We did that for all the cars. And then for the dune buggy, I used a wire brush on a Dremel tool to take off some of the paint, not all of the paint, but give it a little bit of a weathered look. And then Lynn wants to put a turret on top of the VW, so we drilled out a hole in the top for the turret.
So instead of using a wire brush, I decided to go for the handheld model and use the 60-weight sandpaper to rough up both of my vehicles. Then I had to double check to make sure the turret fit, which it did. And then I gotta make sure that the pipes fit in the back, which they do once we snipped off the ends. I'm building the little guns for my gray car. And putting the base on for the chair for the turret.
That's plastic canvas, right?
It is, and sticking my little guy in his seat so he doesn't fall out.
I notice he's got a nice hat.
Yes, he does.
Those are the Skylanders pipes, right?
Yep, those are the Skylander pipes. And mounting the little guy on his base with green stuff. Using green stuff to mount the Skylander pipes on the back of the VW. Now the guns are mounted on the top of the gray car.
So that's your rocket-powered missile-launching hatchback, huh?
Yep. And here's the VW so far with the guy mounted on the top. Now I'm building the outside armor for him so that no one can shoot him while he's shooting them.
And that's your DQ gift card.
That's my DQ gift card, using a little plastic canvas to give him a little protection from anything lobbed over the top.
Okay, since the driver's compartment is visible on the dune buggy, we figured we'd better put a driver in there, so that's what I'm doing now. This car here was unmarked on the bottom, but it's actually called a Nitro Door Slammer, and there's several variations that Hot Wheels offers. Now just kind of sizing up various parts. There's the hatch from the Dust Tactics Bulldog. There's the AT-43 housing. See if that fits, and I put a little X-Wing gun on the front. Now I'm testing whether these watch components can be used as spiky rear hubcaps. Now here's those office supply stickers. We're going to use those for armor plates. So we're going to see if they fit on the doors. And actually they fit pretty well. So that's a neat little application. Now putting the hatch and the housing on the top with a little Gorilla Glue. Using another office supply sticker for a front hubcap. Painting the red windshields metallic blue. And we'll imagine our exposed engine is now a Nikola Tesla type death ray generator. So we're going to paint it accordingly. Then I was going to paint a khaki uniform on the dune buggy driver, but he ended up looking kind of like Captain Kirk, and that's okay.
So for my window armor, I'm going to use wired ribbon, which is a little more flexible than mesh or plastic canvas, so it'll be easier to mount, and use some gel glue to hook it on there with a toothpick. It just slides right in there, and it bends around the curved surfaces pretty easy.
So it doesn't fight you as much as regular wire mesh, huh?
Or plastic canvas for that matter either. Now I'm painting in the pipes, changing them to the metallic from that bright pink. So to give that gift card a little bit more stability, I used plumber's putty over the gift cards and then used glass beads to make them look like rivets, and then gave it a coat of that purple and a little bit of silver to match the car. Since the turret looks a little bit large on there, we're going to give another option using a Dust Tactics rocket launcher. Using the same turret mount so they're easy to switch back and forth depending on which way you want to go with it for the game. Time to give the gray car a little pizzazz with the metallic blue paint, highlights on the hood and on the rockets, as well as stripes on the sides of the doors. And we'll give the weapons red tips on both the gray car and the VW missile launcher. And we can't leave the little guy without being painted, so we're giving him a red shirt and black hat just to see how it goes. And he kind of looks like Freddy Krueger in a way, kind of creepy.
Okay, painting additional accents on our Nikola Tesla death ray generator. There's a look at what we have so far. That was originally the exposed engine on the nitro door slammer. Now we'll paint some various metallic components using gunmetal. I used one color on a lot of different stuff so I could just pour it and use it. Here's the front end on the nitro door slammer. Now we'll mount the heavy machine gun on our dune buggy using a convenient pre-cut slot they gave us. But first I have to cut this plastic piece to make room, and then trim the machine gun down to size so it fits in the space available to it. And since I ground off the original graphics, I thought I'd put a water slide decal in the space next to the machine gun. This was kind of a pain, but it worked out okay in the end. Now we're going to give our accessorized nitro door slammer a good coat of black primer to tie all the pieces together. Painting gunmetal on the wheels for both cars, back and front. Attaching our heavy machine gun to the front of the dune buggy. Scraping away excess green stuff with a sculpting tool. Now we're hitting the primed nitro door slammer with a coat of Rust-Oleum Sienna Mist, and this ended up giving it a really interesting gold metal flake finish. Now we're going to cut some plastic canvas to use as side armor for our dune buggy driver. And then some metal strainer mesh for the rear of the dune buggy. This is a more traditional look, but it's a little spiky on the side, so I'm going to have to pad it with some green stuff to keep people from poking themselves. Our wasteland welds are a little bit rough, but fortunately that's not out of place on a Gaslands dune buggy. Lynn's Glamrock Gaslands vehicles are complete, so it's time to spray them with a little matte clear coat. The modified nitro door slammer is looking pretty sweet in its gold metal flake, so now it's time to reassemble it. Now we'll see how the former Happy Meals car looks as a Nikola Tesla-inspired Death Ray platform. Pretty cool. And finally attaching the X-Wing cannon to use as our Death Ray emitter. Well, we're in the home stretch now. Time to add a little shading to the dune buggy, and then some rust effects on any of the exposed metal areas. My simple rule of thumb was, if the paint was scraped away, that's a good place for some rust. Then a little dirt and mud on the tires and lower areas, and we're finished. Okay, now that everything's finished, let's take a look at some before and after shots for the Gaslands Flea Market Challenge. Lynn, what do you think?
I really like how they turned out using different stuff from around the house to make them all unique.
I think my favorite is the VW rocket launcher.
I really like the color on your gold one.
Okay, here's a closer look at the rocket-powered hatchback.
I like how the toothpicks worked out as guns, and then the Skylander vehicle parts really turned out good.
And here's a closer look at the modified nitro door slammer. It's funny how the sienna paint over the black primer turned out to be gold. And there's the alternate turret on top of the VW. And the more conventional rocket turret. Your exhaust pipes really worked out well.
Yeah, they did. Skylander parts.
I'd originally planned to bolt a lot of stuff on this dune buggy, but in the end its body style just lent itself to a more conventional build. Sometimes less is more. Alright, well that was our Gaslands Flea Market Challenge. Some people who didn't get built was Big Bird, didn't quite know what to do with him. And this little car, maybe that becomes an RC explosive vehicle, we don't know. Anyway, I think it's pretty successful. I like them all. There was no catastrophic failure. We should have a game where these teams duke it out.
Yep, we should do that.
If you do that, are you going to use the cannon on the VW or the rocket launcher on the VW?
I'm probably going to use the rocket launcher.
Okay. Well, okay, folks, we hope you enjoyed our Gaslands Flea Market Challenge. If you like our content, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please give us a big thumbs up and or visit us online at our website, skirmishwargames.com.